trickle in. So we're going to talk about how do you create content, and then we're kind of going to give some ideas for your week too. That's the plan, to plan out your week. We'll start with Zooms, of course, because I think plugging in the Zooms for the week is so important. Just trying to get my lights here. Let's see, files. So there's this term called content batching, and that's something that's really changed my business versus I always felt like I was super stressed out when I was trying to think of content. And then days like I wouldn't have my content planned out, and I felt like then at that point I would just thing up and it wasn't and it didn't a good response. And hold on, pull up. Screen share from the Zooms. If you want to add your Zooms in there too, you can star. Because if you do a personal one with your team. Oh my gosh. Slow in the lattice.
I don't know if you can see our comments, but you're extremely blotchy.
I don't know if you can oh, it says computer is really slow.
You sound like a robot.
Okay. Are we good now? Oh, I do. Frick. I'm gonna myself off of Wi-Fi and see if that helps, but my computer's just a piece of shit. Am I good now or no?
Yeah, you actually do seem good now.
Okay. So for those of you that are on STAR's team, you can ignore the Wednesday Groundbreaker Zoom because that's just my team's. Oh man, and it's 8:30. It's not 8:45. I changed the time. But the rest of them are relative to you guys. So if you want to put if you have your own team Zoom, STAR, go ahead and drop that in the chat so that your team can have that. Do I have the new Sunday one? I'm also starting weekly opportunity Zooms. I don't know if it'll be this week. I have to look at my schedule. Yeah, I can probably do those. Not Zooms, but events on Facebook. So let's start by putting these into the calendar. So then if you have the ability to attend one of these, you certainly can. And then you have it on hand to be able to just hop on. I hope Steph does her Zoom this week. I know last week they weren't able to, but we'll just take the first couple minutes to put these in.
And I don't know if you guys like the Wednesday night Zoom by Chas. I absolutely love it, but I think it's at 8:30 EST, 8:30 p.m. EST. So it's before your team Zoom, I'm pretty sure.
And they put that in the VIP vault thing, right?
Yes, actually, I think they do.
Here, I'm going to pull it up and see. Yes, it is 7:30 Central Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern, and that's called Excel Empire. And the link to join that Zoom is actually a website. It's www.viptrainingvault.com/team. Oh, my computer just wants to update everything right now. Not right now, computer. Some other time. I think everyone's probably got Monday down, so I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Why? I don't know. I'll give another like 2 minutes to wrap this up. My Google Play Store. I should just delete Netflix off. I should delete everything except for Zoom off of this computer. Oh my God, my office is so cold. So we're going to talk about how to create content around stuff that isn't related to the business necessarily or the products, because it's important for you to create an audience. And I wanted to help you guys kind of figure out your niche. I'm going to stop the share if there's more people waiting. I'm going to add them in. Okay, we're good. Oh, there's Jennifer. Perfect. So I think it's important for you to build community around like what are some of the things that are important to you, that you're good at, maybe that you can help create an audience around, because that's how you'll build your following. And then you can like sprinkle in Thrive isn't you. You're not Thrive. You're not the business. You're not the products. It is something that's incorporated into your life. And that's how you can kind of highlight, and people are like, oh, what's that? And you can pique interest, but you want to build your following around something else. We'll just give an example. So Brittany Strike, she probably has like 15,000 followers on Facebook, not Instagram, on Facebook. And hers is all built around like women empowerment and makeup and stuff like that. But that's how she's able to have such high enrollment numbers, is because she's built that audience around something else. And then when she does talk about the business that she's in, or she does talk about the products, she has that trust built because they have a connection. I'm just trying to admit people here as we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to create content. They're called content boxes, so that we can think of like ideas of things that you can talk about that are outside of like Thrive. And this will help you with like, okay, what do I talk about on a live? Or like, what do I post about? Yes, I know I'm supposed to post about the products and the business, but what can I post about that is going to build that following? So what we're going to do, what I want to tell you first of all, the lack of results in either your business. So like wherever you are, if you're just starting, maybe like you've started a long time ago and you're struggling to get results, that has nothing to do with your ability to provide value to somebody else's life. Absolutely nothing. Because we each have something unique that we have to offer this world. So this is about tapping into those things so that you can build that trust and likability with other people. And so we're going to start with creating content boxes. So what we want to do, like write down 5 things that you're really passionate about. I'll give you some examples. Maybe you are passionate about the supplements that we have. That's totally fine. But I think in order for you to talk about that, you got to build off of like why you're passionate about that and speak about specifics that relate to supplements. So like, what are the vitamins and what do they do for you? When I first started with this business and stuff was like, you have to go live. Like I shared my story the first time, but then I was like, okay, I need to continually go live. What do I talk about? I literally took like the capsules and I like went through the ingredients list or the nutrition facts, and I like picked a vitamin and just talked about the vitamin and why we need it and how to tell if you have a deficiency. I would have people at that time where I was working come up to me at work and be like, I love your lives about like all that stuff because it's so informational and it helps me so much. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. I was just trying to figure out something to talk about. So if you are passionate about like health and wellness and supplements and that sort of thing, like that can be a way that you can utilize that. But let's say you're passionate about your faith. What are some, you got to write down, we'll just do 5 boxes. I'm making my boxes.
That's literally what I just wrote down, my faith.
So then we're going to write faith at the top of the box, if that's yours. Like for me, meal prepping and nutrition is something that's important to me. Another one is like self-development. That's really important to me. So like I will talk about self-development topics that I come across. Trying to think of what else. Meal prepping and nutrition. You could do like fashion or beauty or something like that if you're into that sort of thing. Maybe it's you. Just trying to think of other ideas. Throw some ideas out, Star, if you have any of them. Maybe you're really good at, I don't know. Go ahead, you go.
It's okay. Like pets. You like animals. Yep. That's one.
Parenting. You can talk about
parenting. Look, my mom put recovery and surviving, like survivors with many different topics. Like if you're a survivor of narcissism, abuse, cancer, whatever it is, or like if you have a family tie-in with that, and that's something that you're passionate about, that's definitely some good topics too.
That's super good. Maybe it is like you are really passionate about helping other people be successful in their business, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be towards people in Thrive. So like maybe you're passionate about social media. Like I'm really passionate about social media. So maybe that's the topic I could utilize to put into my like, because like so many people do social media wrong. And I'm like, you guys, I just want to help you.
Yes.
Stop sending.
Oh, homeschool, Mom. Yes. Like.
Oh, that's so good. Yes. Homeschooling. Yes. Maybe you have, like, I know Clara, one of her children has autism. Like, that's a really good one you could talk about, like the challenges you face with it, how you overcome those things, maybe special things that you do with your child when he feels like he's having a moment of like breakdown. Self-care, that's a really good one. Super good one. So many people need help with self-care. So writing these at the top of the boxes, I'm just trying to think of some other ideas.
So I want to kind of like throw something that just came in my head out there. If one of those topics that you're truly passionate about, you may be fearful in sharing, just get over that fear. Because when you said something about Clara's son, it made me think about my son. I know he is borderline on the spectrum, and I know why. And I get really nervous to share his story because of the backlash that I could get and that I have gotten before. But you just have to, that kind of ties in with just being brave, and because you will connect with somebody, you'll connect with that particular audience.
For sure. And I always feel like too, if there's people that might be like offended or don't like the topic you're talking about, or like maybe they're turned off, like let's say you start talking about God, because I feel like faith is an issue for some people or whatever. Some people just don't believe it, whatever that looks like. Understand that if they're removing yourself from if they are removing themselves or you're removing them from your audience, that's okay. Like you shouldn't want to be speaking to everybody. You should be wanting to speak to a very narrow group of people, because why would you want to bring somebody onto your business that's like, I hate God, but you're like somebody that's super faithful? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Amen to that. Because every single team Zoom, I put God into our team Zooms. Like that's just what we're built off of. So if somebody comes in here and they're all like anti-Jesus, They're probably going to leave my team anyway.
You're like, oh, that's all she talks about. Wonderful. Well, what did you think? That's all I post about, fool. Like, what do you expect?
Right.
So once we have these boxes with the things on top, we're going to just I'm going to put some music on so you have a little time to do this, but we're going to write maybe 3 things in each box underneath that topic that you could talk about. So that this will give you like probably close to like almost a month of content topics that you could talk about. And you can be a multidimensional person. You don't just have to talk about faith. You don't just have to talk about nutrition. You don't just have to talk about whatever. Like, it's okay for you to have multiple things in your life because you're a multifaceted person. You're not somebody that's just this thing or that thing. Like, you're not just a mom. There's more about you than that. You're not just Thrive. There's more about you than that. So write down 3 things that you could talk about in each box, like a topic. I'm going to try to give you some ideas. So, like, if you're talking about faith, maybe you talk about how you came into your faith journey, what's a really big hardship you overcame, and then like the community around faith that you've discovered or something like that. Like meal prepping, you can talk about, or nutrition or whatever. Like I said, you could take the back of any of our products and then talk about one of the vitamins. You could talk about meal prepping. You can talk about ways to exercise when you're a busy mom. You can talk about ways to make sure that you're eating healthy, even though you have a chaotic schedule. Or you can talk about, like, if you're in quarantine, how do you stay away from the snacks? Like, there's so many different topics you could talk about. So we're going to do that. I'm going to try to pull up some music that isn't offensive. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little.
Can you tell Clara where you got that book?
I'm sorry?
What?
Tell Clara where you got that book.
Oh, Amazon. I'm done with mine. I can mail it to you. I'm just going to sit there and collect dust. So message me your address. And then I expect you to do the same thing. Just keep paying it forward.
That's an awesome
Yes,
idea.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, babes.
That's an awesome idea. I'm such, like, I write in my books and I probably shouldn't, so I can actually pass them on.
No. Listen, continue to write in them because I am now doing this devotional, and the lady who I bought it on Amazon pre-owned, and I love her notes.
I suppose that's a good way to get perspective from somebody else.
Yes.
I love that idea.
Oh, it just gave me goosebumps. Okay, I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
Oh man, I'm trying to find music. Let's just go with some 90s country. So we're going to spend the next 10 minutes doing that.
Someone fired the old jukebox up. The song is sure was a sad one. Teardrop rolled down Bubba's nose. The pain the song was inflicting. And all at once he jumped to his feet, just like somebody kicked him. Bubba shot the jukebox last night. Said it played a sad song that made him cry. Went to his truck and got a 45. Bubba shot the jukebox last night. Bubba ain't never been accused of being mentally stable, so we did not draw an easy breath till he laid that coat on the table. He hung his head till the cops showed up. He dragged him right out of Market. They told him, don't you play dumb with the son. You know damn well what the charge is. Bubba shot the jukebox last night. Said it played a sad song. He made him cry. Went to his truck and got a 45. He shot the jukebox last night. When the sheriff arrived with his bathrobe on, the confrontation was a tense one. He shook his head and sitting bubble boy. You was always a dense one, a reckless discharge of a gun. That's why the officers are claiming. Bubba hollered at red as hell. I hit just where I was aiming. Bubba shot the jukebox last night. Every place that song made us cry. Went to his truck and got a 45. He shot the jukebox, stopped with one shot. Bubba shot the jukebox last night. But he could not tell right from wrong through the teardrops in his eyes.
I'm sorry to ask this. I feel like stupid, but this is what we're building lives from, right? These 5
could do
boxes we
anything.
took. Okay. I
So,
came in
like,
a little
when-
late, so I missed the first part of what you were talking about. So I made my 5 boxes and I put, because on the last week's Zoom, I really, really thought about my 5 things because I've just been kind of all over the place with them. So I took those 5 things and I put them in the boxes. And then underneath, I'm just writing 3 things that go along with that, right? And I could do posts from this, lives from this, stories, whatever, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so this is a great idea.
So then it gives you like all these things because, like, you know, your content should really be, I always think of like, it should be 33% Thrive, maybe even 20% Thrive, and the rest should be you, because that's how you build relationships and connection and trust and stuff like that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I recorded this too, so if you need to rewatch.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I was making Zeke's breakfast. So heads up, I've been trying different vegan things because, you know, fan and everything. And I bought, let me just tell you all to never buy these things. Where's the thing? It's called Artesian Vegan Original Field Roast Grain Meat. This is the brand. This was the worst thing I'd ever eaten in my life. I think he took a bite of it because we're like really honing in on like getting him to eat. And he took a bite and he's like chewing it. And I said, "Is it good, buddy?" And he goes, "Mama, it's not really that good." And I tasted it and I was like, "Oh gosh, please don't eat that. It's terrible." So we were washing our mouths out. And
So that could be something that you talk about too. Like you could like review certain vegan foods that you're trying.
that's a great.
You could just come on and review them. Be like, this is one that I thought about trying and it's terrible. You could do that in your stories. Because I think there's so many people that like are maybe being really conscious with what they're feeding their children.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a really good way for you to connect with other people, especially if you're in any like vegan groups. And then you end up like adding them to your network. And then you talk about that. So that's like the whole purpose behind this, is because like, let's say you join these groups that have to do with these things. Like Clara said, she joined an autism group and she's been getting friends that way. Well, if you never talk about autism on your page, they're going to be like, or did you just add me because you want me to do Thrive? Is that why? But if you're like actually providing value around the reason why you're in that group with them, it makes sense to them.
Right.
So like for 30 days, I decided to be sober for 30 days was one of my things. And I was in a sober group and I added a couple people, but I had to make sure I was still talking about it, because if I wasn't, then they're like, "Are you really being sober? Or did she just do that to gain friends from this group?" You know? Okay, we got about 2 more minutes. And if you don't like finish up, you can always like go back after this. I just wanted to give you guys some time to brainstorm. This is a good channel.
when you picked this channel, I was like, yes, back to the good stuff.
Good stuff. I feel like country is one of those that hasn't like changed a whole lot. Thankfully.
90s country is like the epitome of my childhood.
Same. I grew up in a small town.
I love it. And a lot of it reminds me of my dad too. So it's like very special to my heart.
Very nostalgic.
Yes. Alabama, any Alabama song. That was our band. We loved Alabama.
I saw them play.
Really?
So in Minnesota, there's this big country music festival thing, like 15 minutes from where we live. And I was pregnant when we went. Like, why would you ever go to a country music festival pregnant? But my husband wanted to go, so that's why I went. But yeah, they were the headliner, so that was really cool.
That would be awesome. I probably would have cried if I got to see them.
Aw. So this was like 6 years ago because I was pregnant, obviously. Brooklyn just turned 5. Okay, so now that we have our little boxes, how do you where do you like pull content from? You have your ideas, but like where do you pull information to be able to provide? So here's some ideas. You can go to books. So like books that you're reading, like let's say one of your topics is self-development, just like talking about items that are in that book. You can look up podcasts that have to relate to your things so you can continually build off of this. So this might be after you get through like the couple that you've done. You can go to Pinterest. Pinterest is like life for me because that's where I find like quotes. That's where I find my meal prep ideas. Yes, like Pinterest is everything. If you're not on Pinterest, like you should be. Grocery store lines, magazine titles. I thought that was kind of a unique one that somebody had said. Magazine articles. You can look up what's trending on social media. Yeah. Make a top 3 list of questions that people might ask you the most based on those topics, which is kind of a cool idea. So like maybe I just keep using Clara because I feel like she's a really good specific topic. Like, let's say you could say like, what do you wish somebody would have told you when you first found out that your child was on the spectrum? Like, what do you wish that you would have known going into that journey that you could talk about? That's probably a really good one. So now that we have those ideas, another thing that I think is super important, this one's a little bit different. Usually like we'll write out our content every day, but I felt like this is a really good base work for us to go off of. And I feel like it's a good refresher for those of us that have been in for a while. Maybe you sometimes get caught in like, I'm posting a motivational post. I'm posting Transformation Tuesday. I'm doing a wellness post. I'm doing It's you get into that groove and you forget like how are different ways that I can provide value to people. So this will be like, it'll be unique going forward after this one. But I said this to my team. I don't know if it was my team or if I was speaking to an individual person on my team. But the truth is, if you're trying to speak to everyone, you are speaking to nobody. If you're making it so broad in general with your content that you're trying to speak to every person or you're trying to cater to every person, you're literally not hitting it home with anybody. How do we hone in on things? And I gave 2 examples. It's actually a post that's in my team page. And Star, I added you to my team page. So if you want to steal that, you certainly can.
Oh, I've been creeping, so.
So like, tell me which of these 2 like headlines sounds better to you. Here's the first one. I see you out there. You're exhausted because your baby kept you up again. You have to drive everyone around to all their school functions, make dinner, keep a house clean, and you just don't have the energy to do it. But what if by the end of the day you could? ? Or here's the other one on the flip side. Oh my God, these 3 steps are amazing. Energy, weight loss, improved sleep, mood support. Like, who do you think is like, which one do you think is actually going to speak to somebody? The first one, because you're being super specific about who you're trying to target to. And I get so many messages from people sometimes that are like, oh my God, did you write that post for me? Because I swear that's what's going on in my life right now. You have to get super specific. So how do we do that? You actually have to create like a fictitious person that you're trying to speak to. And I did this a long time ago, and it really helped me narrow who I was trying to talk to, especially in like my business posts and my product posts. So we already got all the other stuff that you can talk about to build value. This is how you can really target in with your business and who you want to join your business. And this is how you can target into like those people that are really needing your help with the product. You will literally write down a list of a person. So like, did you want to add something?
So I did unmute myself, but I was going to give you a minute, but then I got 5,000. Mommy. I just want to say real quick, yes, with the whole like making a character type thing. Think about what helped me big time is I thought about who I was the day before I started thriving.
Amen. Yep. That's totally like, that's how I first started this. And as I go through these questions that you'll have to ask yourself and like write down. So take out a blank sheet of paper if you have one. I was like, gosh, this sounds a lot like the person I was before. And it's like mirrors a lot of my stuff. And that's okay, because it's going to be easier for you to relate to that person. So here are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. How old is this person? Like, where are they at in their life? Are they like in their early 20s, or are they in their 30s and like kind of settled? Are they maybe in their 40s or their 50s and their kids are grown? Like, how old is this person that you're trying to reach? Do they have any kids? How many kids? What are their ages? Do they work? What is their job? Do they like it? Just anything around their job. How many hours are they working a week? What type of industry are they in? And then what problems do they face every day that are income related and that are health related? So maybe it's like they always run out of money before their next paycheck, or like they have a kid that's starting to drive and now they have to pay for insurance and help their kid with gas and like all these things. Like, what are the problems that they're facing? Health related, maybe they're exhausted all the time. Maybe they don't sleep well at night. Maybe they gain some unwanted weight. Like, what are their problems look like? What's most important to them in life? Is it maybe providing for their family, making sure that they provide for their children better than they were provided for? Like, really understanding what's important to them. How much money do they have? Do they have a savings account? Do they have debt? Do they go to college and they have student loans? Like, what does that look like? What do they do in their free time? Do they even have free time? And then what's their name? Yes, like naming the person is so important, because then you can think of like, okay, I'm trying to speak to Jessica. What's Jessica going through right now? Or where is she at in her day? Why do we get that specific? Because when you get specific, you can be relatable to a person in their struggles. We don't want to like try to talk to everybody and just talk about weight loss, sleep, energy, blah, 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 blah. Because you're going to be like every other cookie cutter direct sales marketing person on the planet. When you are really trying to talk to one person, you're going to hit multiple people, because there's a lot of people that go through the exact same struggles. Like, I'm sure Star and I went through a lot of the same struggles. Jennifer and I have been through a lot of the same struggles. Claire and I, Sarah and I, whoever. It's just that when you're putting it that specific, if somebody is in a moment where they feel like they're really having problems with a certain one of the things you might address, like, you're able to like strike them in the heart. And because you've gone through that and you know how much it's helped you, you'll be able to help them. So you can pull it off my page if you want to like send it to your team. If you're on my team, it is in the Groundbreakers and it's in Unit 2. So if you click on Unit 2, it's under the social media. Do you want to add anything? Anybody want to add anything to that? Getting really specific with who you're trying to talk to.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah.
I'm doing an interview series of older people showing trying to show everybody that it doesn't matter where you are in life, what your background is, what your age is, what you've been through, that no matter what, you can restart. Does that fall under something like that, or
I love that idea
really different?
because I think there's a lot of people that are probably in that age range that are thinking like, oh, it's just over for me. Like I'm too old for this. I've literally had this conversation with my mom because she wanted to be a writer all these years. I'm like, why don't you just do it? I think there's a lot of people that could relate to that.
Because I know that I just recently interviewed Susan Kaufman, and I got interviews coming up with like Tony Strathman, Maria Dillard, Stephanie Graz, like people like that. But I was wondering, would it be a good thing or a bad thing to get people from different businesses to also interview?
You certainly could.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think that's such a good idea. Because I think there's so many people that think like, oh, I'm in my 30s. That's it. I didn't go to school for what I wanted. I'm done. Or 40s or 50s or 60s, whatever. So for the remaining like 5-ish minutes, let's go ahead and put our non-negotiables into our calendar. So like where are the times when you're not able to actively work your business? I think it's important to understand where you can't, because then you can understand where you can plug in time to like interact, time to add to your network, time to do all those things. So for the next, we'll just do 5 minutes and then leave the last couple of minutes open for you guys if you have questions or comments or whatever. So the next 5 minutes, let's just write in our calendar, where are some areas that you will not whatsoever be able to work your business? Because it's important for us to have that balance. I'm going to put on the water. Oh. This is the best.
I have a quick question about this. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
So
you're fine.
I tend to find myself where I'm having hard times of when I can work my business.
Mhm.
So Danny hates that he feels like I'm always on my phone.
Mhm.
So lately I've been really trying to, like, when I'm with Dan and Zeke, I'm with Dan and Zeke. So can I do the opposite? Can I put in times where I can work my business and then the rest
Absolutely.
is, because I feel like that when I try it the other way, I end up missing all of it. Like I
You're
missed
like, well, it's like nowhere.
I was like, I added some people and, but I can't like hone in on exactly what I'm wanting to do. And then I end up getting lost and I'm like, oh shit,
I think
forgot where I left off.
the same probably goes for Sarah as you.
Okay.
She's like, where can I work my business?
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna put it in my calendar on my phone because I've been writing all this in my weekly planner, and then when I'm at work, I don't have that. So then I'm like, shit, what did I write in my planner?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start putting it all in my calendar on my phone and see if that helps.
Perfect.
Oh, and guys, don't forget the 24th. Does anybody know the time? I know Steph Groshek is going to be on there. It's that Zoom with the Thriving magazine or something like that.
Oh yeah, I just saw that. Let me see.
I don't remember.
I'm gonna take a look and see if I can find it. Here it is. Saturday, October 24th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. There's an email. So if you go into your back office, and I'll post it in my team chat so you guys have that. But if you go into your back office and you click on resources and then you click on email history, it should show up at the top. Oh, I was playing music. Yes. So if it, to Jennifer's point, if it's easier for you to, because like, let's say you are just really consumed with time, like you're working, maybe like your kids are in sports. I'm like using Sarah as an example because I feel like she's always busy doing something. You're working full time, maybe you have kids in sports, maybe you are really active in your community or whatever, and it's really hard for you to pinpoint or like if you were to write down everything on a calendar where you can't work the business, your like whole calendar would be filled up. And it's better for you to understand where are the times that I might be able to. You can certainly do the reverse too. I think that's a good point.
I'm totally about to do a picture. So if your video's on, say cheese. Look at my mom. Good job. Thank you.
I should probably go too.
Sisters using roots, their complexion soap, brothers wearing beads, and smokes a lot of. Mama is depressed, barely makes a sound. Daddy's got a girlfriend in another town. Bob Dylan sings like a rolling stone. Time marches on. Time marches on. The south moves north, north moves south. A star is born, a star burns out. The only thing stays the same. Everything changes, everything changes. Sister calls herself sexy grandma.
Sexy grandma. What?
Mama's out of touch with reality. Daddy's in the ground beneath the maple tree as the angels sing an old Hank Williams song. Time marches on. 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 Time marches on.
All right, guys. Anyone have any questions? Yes, I will post the pic to our team page.
I don't have any questions, but I would just like to say that I really love this Zoom, like this Sunday Zoom. I'm really liking us bouncing ideas off each other and really getting into helping building content and things, because I think a lot of us new ones, well, I'm not even really new. I've been since March, but I feel new every day. It's just really helping me hone in on what I'm actually talking about, because I feel like my brain is all over the place most of the time. So I'm loving this.
As we all do. I feel like my brain's all over the place all the time too.
When I posted that little meme and it was like, how many tabs does your brain have open? That was 100% true for me, like all the time, all these little tabs.
You're like, laundry, shoot, no, work, wait, no, children.
Exactly. And then it's all at once.
I posted this post that I did not expect to like have as much, speaking of your brain being everywhere, that I did not expect to have as much reception as it did. I said, does anyone else have cleaning ADHD? Like you start in one room, blah, blah. I talked about that. It had 89 likes and 55 comments. I was like, oh. So sometimes it might, like when you're just throwing up those like weird things that happen to you throughout the day, that's like sometimes the best engagement post that you can do. Like, I don't know, like weird thing, like who else's husband takes 95 hours to poop? Like, I mean, I'm like, I know you're watching videos, like talking about stupid stuff like that. You'll get the best engagement as opposed to being like, do you like pineapple on your pizza? No, like what is dumb crap that comes up in your day with your kids? Yeah. sometimes you get the best reception out of those things. So
Thank you for inviting Stars team to this. I really appreciate it.
Me freaking too. I've missed it.
I wonder if I should open it up to everybody. Or do you want
Nah,
to?
just us.
We'll
Like, I'm just
keep it
kidding.
our little secret.
We can be
Yeah.
greedy.
That's funny. Did Sarah? Oh no. Sarah just posted this. She's like, as we were talking on our Zoom this morning, I don't have ducks in a row. I have squirrels and they're everywhere.
Oh my gosh. That is so
That's the
relatable. Good
best.
post.
That is funny. Oh man. This is the best Zoom, seriously. I'm gonna stop the recording.